Good afternoon, Sunny and Peter.
Hello, how are you?
Ciao.
Fine. In Italy is a sunny day.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow, yeah. Well, in the west coast of Ireland, it's not sunny, but it's dry, overcast, and very nice. Spring day.
It's very nice here today too. Yes.
Is the first time I do a live with two people in the same place.
Okay.
But I know you all together in the same place, and is very nice to meet again you in the same place.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
indeed, it is.
Last time was in Modena, yeah?
Yeah, what about our meeting in Modena?
That was terrific.
That was
That
extraordinary.
was beautiful.
That
I
was when we were with Amanda Knox.
yeah.
Very controversial, but important.
I'm getting
If you want to speak about to other people about the event of Modena,
Oh, the event in Modena was what year, Peter?
I don't remember what year it was.
I think it was maybe
2 years
2019.
ago.
Was
Yeah,
that only 2 years
2019.
ago? Wow, I thought it was longer.
And we came with the Innocence Network.
Excuse me, Sonny, I'm getting an echo from your voice.
We came with the European Innocence Network conference, and there were many people there. It was very well attended from many countries, but in particular, I think everyone was most interested in the actual presence of Amanda Knox because of her case that happened in Italy and where she had been accused of terrible crime, and then it was decided that she was actually wrongly convicted, that she had been
Yeah.
innocent, and it caused a lot of controversy. And I think she wanted to come back in particular because she loved Italy very much, and she didn't want to feel afraid to come back. Mm.
I listened this question of Amanda, and I think all the photographs are there for her because there was a lot of problem in this I don't know process in
Process.
uh, uh, because it was the first mediatic process in Italy.
Mm.
So I think I don't like to talk about this because I prefer you and Peter than to her because
Of course, I understand. But
no, because also that day in Modena I prefer to meet you and Peter because I think you are best people. Not than Amanda. Is not a
no,
comparison,
of
no,
course.
but is three history, totally different, no.
Yes,
That's right. That's right.
for us, well, that was the reason that we were in Modena, and I guess that was how we met you, because you were there to photograph the event, and so we were able to connect with you, and and now here we are again together. So it was really very nice to do, because we make a friend.
Yeah.
But Peter and I, our connection to the um, Innocence Network conference was that both of us were also wrongly convicted and both sentenced to death, but me in America and Peter in Ireland. And
Yeah.
yet the same thing happened even though two very different countries.
Later, if you want, you can because you, I think, is only for Sunny, but you in English is for altogether. So
That's
first,
right. You is both, can be one or two or more.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So if you want to explain your history for the people who don't know you, but I want to give you a special thank you to take a coffee with me in Modena, no? Because
Molto bene.
because Sunny and Peter are two lovely people. Different is I don't know because Amanda is another person with the press, no? With the newspaper is different. You have another kind to word to speak, no? So for me, that place is not good to talk with Amanda.
No, no, it was very stressful.
Yeah,
Very,
this one, this.
yes, yes, very stressful. Yes. One day you'll talk again with Amanda, and I'm sure she'll be happy to do that with you.
Yeah,
Um,
because I prefer to speak. I come in Dublin. I go in USA with you
mm,
all together, and we go to speak and not to make something of mediatic. No,
No.
mm,
to
mm.
to
Well,
speak with a person, not with a person who make this.
Yes, I understand. Well, that's what we can do today.
Yeah, a day we can explain a project, make a project,
Okay.
take the plane,
Ah,
and I come in
okay.
Dublin to
Okay.
see the Sunny and Peter Center.
Okay. That would be very nice. It's
Peter,
very beautiful here. Very beautiful. We live on the other side of the country
I
from Dublin.
will just turn my camera so that you can see out through the window where I'm sitting.
yeah, is
Yeah.
all the Sunny Center this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful out there. Um
And
uh
today it's overcast and you can't see the mountains in the distance. Uh, but otherwise, it's a very beautiful. It's a very beautiful place, and it's a very restful place.
I never stay in Ireland, never.
Well, whenever it happens, you can come and stay with us.
I put off or on the microphone because there is the return.
yes, yes, that's okay. That's good. So when people come to stay with us, so for people who don't know what we do, we invite people from all over the world who have been unjustly put in prison for
Yeah.
something they didn't do. When they are released, then we invite them to come to stay with us, to live in our home for 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks. And we give them good food. We grow organic food, bio, and we make them part of our family because when you've been in prison for a long time, and especially for something you didn't do, it's
Hmm.
very difficult when you come out. You feel very disconnected, so we try to connect them. We connect them first with us and then with all the animals. We have dogs, cats, chickens, and we used to have goats as well.
And
and
vegetables.
and the vegetables. So if they like, they can help us to grow the food, or they can get the eggs from the chickens, or they can take the dog for a walk up the mountain, or they can go fishing in the lake. So we
But
can eat fish
I
for dinner.
I can I come there also without to go first in prison?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, we don't want you to do that.
Yes.
Uh, no, I come to. I would come. I would come. I don't know.
Yes,
My
you would
English
come.
today is so bad.
No, no, that was right. I would come.
Okay, you're good.
Go ahead.
I would come to also to make photo with the place. You,
Yes.
Peter, and when. What do you do from the first time of the day to the last time of the day?
Ah,
It's like a reportage, no?
that's
Uh,
nice. Yeah.
to give me a support, a photographic support.
Yeah.
Okay, no
We
problem.
usually when we first in the morning, Peter should probably tell you. He gets up first. Go ahead, Peter. Tell them the what a day would look like.
Yeah, well, the day starts. It varies. Sometimes around about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
And when I get up, I feed our two house cats. Let the dog out, of course. I feed the two house cats, and we have two wild cats that have adopted us as well. They live in two kennels outside the house. So I feed them, and then I open up the hens and let the hens out and feed them. Make a hot drink and bring it into Sonny, who's still in bed at that stage. And oh, yeah, we just chill out, and I go online, check out my emails and my on Facebook, and then Sonny gets up and we have breakfast together, and that starts our day basically. But that start of the day might go on till midday or even
Mm.
later.
I see that you are strong, like the first time we meet. So Sunny prepare you a good breakfast, no?
No, I prepare breakfast.
Peter
Ah,
makes
you prepare.
I make breakfast and Sonny makes dinner.
Peter makes breakfast and I make the dinner. That's the way.
Ah,
Because I'm a night person and he's a morning person. But when I'm in bed, I'm not just. Sometimes I go back to sleep, but I wake up and I do my email before I get up. So I have my nice hot drink, do my email, then I get up and I get dressed, and then I have to give a belly rub to the dog. I have to rub his belly,
yeah.
you know, and then I do a little cleaning up inside, and then I come in and we have our breakfast, and then I usually do some work at the computer. But now that the weather is getting nicer, um, I'm starting to be able to go outside and go in the. It's like a greenhouse, but and we where I grow the vegetables.
Well, you understand that since the pandemic, COVID, and the lockdown, we don't travel anymore, and we can't have visitors come to visit with us. So most of our work now is done online. We either do it with Zoom or with the telephone, mostly online work.
Is change the
The practice
more than 1 years ago.
we've had to change to go with the times.
Yeah.
But our time is quite often taken up with telephone calls from different parts of the world. And of course, if you're working with America, they're many hours behind us. So quite often our calls with America go on till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, our time,
Mhm.
their afternoon over there.
Yeah.
And they don't tend to think about that.
And what about Sunny, your Zoom call? You told me last time we speak at the telephone. You make a Zoom call all the day.
Yeah. I try to make only two Zoom calls in one day because it's it it's I find it takes a lot of energy to try to make the Zoom calls, because you're
Yeah.
trying so hard to to make it more personal, to put your energy into the video. And I find it makes me kind of tired. I think I understand when the children who have to go to school on the computer, why it makes them tired, because there's something about it that makes it that is tiring. But I'm learning how to do it, and I'm enjoying it a lot now, because you see, okay, we can't come together and hug each other and be, together, but with the Zoom and the video, we can be together with people all over the world, all at the same time, and we don't have to take an airplane. We just
Mm.
sit here, at the desk, and here we are. I'm with you in Italy, and we can be with somebody in America. We could be with somebody in India, all
Yeah.
at the same time, and we don't even have to pay for a hotel. It's great.
It is great, but I think I'm very tired to use this device, no? Because I
Yeah, but think about in the old times, when they had a pandemic, many years ago. They didn't have these videos, and
uh,
they had, so I think we really have to put in perspective. We're very, very fortunate, that we have this. And yes, sometimes we feel bad for what we don't have, but then it's important to remember what we do have,
yeah,
and be thankful, be grateful. I think
uh,
gratitude is a very important um, antidote to depression.
I put here my girlfriend say hello, good people.
Is that
Hello,
Maria?
Maria
Maria.
Maria Lente.
uh, is
Ah.
he is from Sicily.
Oh, Peter. That's his favorite place in
Peter,
Italy.
come in Italy and we go in Sicily.
Yeah,
Also, Sunny.
we
Sunny,
can.
I take. Sunny, you go by legs now, or you have also a chair?
No, I would use the chair for
Ah,
traveling. I use the chair because my legs don't work so well. Because I at one point when I um, was released from the prison after being there,
ah,
yeah, wrongful conviction. Um, about 5 years later, I got hit by a car, and it injured my spine. And so because of that, it made harder to walk, and now it's very difficult. So
yeah.
in the house I'm walking, but outside I take my little electric wheelchair. I can go.
And
Mm.
but Peter come and I take your chair with you and I put the chair in Sicily.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I usually come. We've been in Sicily, a very lovely place. The food is wonderful there.
Ah, I
And
take oh I when I know my girlfriend I take 10 kilos.
yeah, yeah,
And
No, I understand. Yeah.
I ask a question, Sunny.
Yeah.
Then you explain me why. Why the people uh, don't be happiness in this period, but also before. Because I see the people in this show. Mm, and but they don't know what is the really time to be tired, to be fear. They have fear. You understand me?
yes. Well, you see, before COVID, And before this lockdown, people got on with their lives. They didn't think about things like this. They just did what they did, and in a lot of cases, they were rushing hither and thither, moving very fast through their lives, and then suddenly they're brought to a halt, and they have to isolate, and they don't know what to do with themselves. They're not used to that. Sonny and I, we, through our experience in prison, we were well trained in this whole thing. For us, this is luxury because we experienced real lockdown, lockdown in a prison cell where you had nothing. And so for us, it's easy. But for lots of people, it's very, very difficult. And for lots of people, it's very mentally and psychologically difficult.
Another thing is, though, that we have each other, and that's very important because um, if you're completely isolated by yourself, like some people, like we know some older people who live by themselves, and this has been a very difficult time for them because they're completely isolated. Peter and I have each other, and I know now some people are getting divorced because they've been stuck together in the house 24 hours a day, and it's like, oh, you know what, I don't really like you.
But
Before you could escape.
some people tell me, why you smile or you always smile, and I told them why I don't smile.
Right, why not? I
Why
say
not?
this: you pay the same price. We pay the price now. We're deprived of each other's company. We have isolation. So you have a choice. You can either be unhappy, miserable, sad, depressed, or you can find a way to be happy and use your time in a nice way and make do correct do maybe something you never had time for before, like painting or photography or singing or learn a new language or
Gardening.
gardening. You can, so you have a choice which way you look at this. um and that's the difference, you know um after a while you just get, if you just can't find your way out of this depression, it gets overwhelming. So then again, you have two choices: you either find your way out or you leave, you kill yourself,
There
and
is
people are doing that.
more than one thing by day to be happy, no?
Yes, exactly. There's, it just depends on which part you want to focus your
Mm.
attention. Wherever you put your energy, that's where your life will go. So if you put your energy into being, oh, angry, miserable, will complain, then that's the direction your life will go. If you put your energy into finding something to be happy about, something, then that's the direction your life will go. And even though we can't have each other like together, you can find somebody to talk to on the telephone or on the video that also wants to put their energy in the direction of being happy, and avoid the people who are listening to the news all the time and it's terrible and the world is going to end. And but you have to choose where to put your own energy. What do you want for yourself? And then you have to put some energy and effort into finding it. So start with your refrigerator. Do you have food in your refrigerator? Yes. Oh, well, there's something to be grateful for because so many people don't even have any food. Okay,
Because
so
also people don't know that today can be the last day of the life, no?
Correct.
you are so right. And we learned that when we were sentenced to death, that you never know when is the last day. So if this is the last day of your life, choose. How do you want to spend the last day of your life? Are you going to let somebody else destroy the last day of your life for you and make you unhappy? No. You can choose. You can choose that if this is going to be the last day of my life, I think I would like to you do it cooking pasta.
Yeah.
Hey, why not? I like it, and then I get to eat it. And and if there's some left over and God lets me live tomorrow, I'll eat it tomorrow. There, now I'm happy.
Because if you, Sunny, and then Peter can explain quickly, if you want, in some minutes, what was your life, no?
Oh, you mean what happened to us, like that we were put in prison, that kind of thing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Peter, you want to go first?
He asked you to go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. So, I was just a young mother in I was in America,
And you said in a few minutes.
and I had two young children. One was a baby. My daughter was a baby. My son was only 9 years old, and we ended up. I was accused of a killing of a policeman, and the man who actually did the killing was blaming me and my husband, and we ended up being put on death row. And we didn't have money. We didn't have a lot of money to hire very good lawyers. So anyway, I didn't think that I needed a good lawyer anyway because I was innocent. So what, I have no problem. But you need a good lawyer, just so in case anybody knows that. So I was sentenced to death row, and my husband went to the men's death row, but there was no women death row. I was the only one with this sentence of death. So they put me in isolation
Mm.
in a women's prison where no one else was allowed to speak to me or to have any communication with me. And I stayed that way for 5 years, all by myself. And that's where I learned uh, that the all the ways to survive, because like now, we're not, all of a sudden, you you can't get away from anything. You're stuck in this one place where they say you have to stay there for the rest of your life until they decide to kill you, and you are afraid and you're angry and you're confused, and there's no way to get away from that. There's no distraction. There's no television, there's no telephone, there's no, you are just stuck there with your emotions. And so I learned during that time that yoga, meditation, and prayers was the answer for me. This gave me the strength, it gave me hope, and it gave me a way to deal with my emotions. And it made me know that I was not really alone, that I'm never really alone. They wanted me to think I was alone,
Mm.
but I was not. And so, and I began to live in a different way. I was in the cell. I was stuck there. I couldn't go out. But inside, I began to live in in a spiritual way, and it opened up the world to me in a way that I didn't know before. And then after 5 years, they changed my sentence, so I was able to go into the prison with the rest of the women, and that also was challenging in its own ways. But at least I could call my children on the phone, and I could talk to people, and and I didn't have to eat by myself. It was much better. And then uh, after that, unfortunately, my parents got killed in a plane crash.
Mm.
So my children became orphans. They had no one to take care of them again. And so they went into the care of the state. And I didn't get to see them anymore after a while. And then uh, about 15 years after this happened, they executed my husband. And it was very terrible. And then finally, after 17 years, um, the lawyers who were working for free because I had no money, and friends who also were working for free, and because they knew that I couldn't have done that, they were able to prove that I was innocent, and I got released. But when this happened to me, I was 27 years old. When I finally was released, I was 45 years old, you know. And my little boy, my little 9-year-old son, was a grown man, and he had a little girl, a daughter of his own, who was only 3 years old, and I never even got to spend one day with her. So um, it was very difficult. And then I had no money, and no way to work because nobody wanted to give me a job. A woman of 45 years old who just got out of prison, nobody's going to give you a job. So I became a yoga teacher, and I started working to try to help human rights and to end the death penalty. And that's how I got to meet Peter. And now, Peter, you should tell your background.
Okay. Well, I was also wrongly convicted and sentenced to death for the murder of a policeman, a crime which I had nothing whatever to do with. And I was locked up in the maximum security prison. And the sentence was postponed while my lawyers made an application for leave to appeal. My application for leave to appeal was refused, and a new sentence, a death sentence date for my execution was set. And 11 days before that, the state decided not to hang me, but to change the sentence from death to 40 years in prison without any possibility of early release. And I was put into the general prison population, which left me with no choice but to try to prove my innocence. And this was in a prison where there was no law library, and I had no background in law. I had worked as a fisherman on trawlers at sea, and I knew nothing about the law. And when I tried to study, I couldn't study because my anger was such I just wasn't able to study. So I had a friend leave me in a little book on yoga, and I began to teach myself yoga in the cell, and I began to teach myself how to meditate. And gradually my anger abated to such an extent that I was able to do my case, work on my case. And that's what I did. And after 12 years, I managed to take my case to the High Court in Dublin under the Irish Constitution. And they were obliged to bring me up each time under armed escort. They would strip search me first and afterwards, and they would bring me up under armed escort of military and police and jailers and into the court. And I conducted my own case on my own behalf. And after nearly 2 years, a human rights lawyer offered me his help, and I took it. And we took the case to the Court of Criminal Appeal, and my conviction was quashed, overturned. And eventually I was released out into the world, and I had a difficult time because, when you come back into the world after being locked up like that, everything has changed. And it's very difficult to hold conversations because my only terms of reference for conversation was within the prison, and people outside had different terms of references, and they really all they wanted to know from me was what it was like in there, and I didn't want to discuss that with them. I just said it wasn't very nice. So there it was. And when I was locked up, I knew there was a good possibility they were going to hang me. But I knew that while they had me in prison physically, they couldn't imprison my mind or my heart or my spirit. And those were the realms of myself that I decided I would live within while I was in the prison. And that's what I did. And so eventually, as I say, I was released and out into the world. And I had been in a relationship with a woman and she wanted me to go back to live with her. And I did. But then after 6 weeks, she told me to leave because she couldn't stick me any longer. So I left. I was very fortunate, though, in that I found a little abandoned puppy dog, 3 months old, black Labrador puppy, whom I call Leah. And I kept her and looked after her, and she looked after me. And she was a great help to me. We went walking on the hills and swimming in the sea, and we were great companions for each other. And then 3 years later, I got a phone call from an American lady who told me her name was Sunny Jacobs, and she was going to be speaking in the town where I was in 3 days' time. And she invited me to come and hear her speak. And I said, "What are you going to speak about?" And she told me she was going to speak about the death penalty. So I said, "Yes, I'm interested in that." And I went along and I brought 2 friends. And the meeting was held at 1 o'clock on a Friday in a pub in Galway, in a room over a pub. And when we went there was nobody there. And eventually the door opened and this little lady walked in. And I walked over to her and I said, "You must be Sunny Jacobs." And she looked up at me and she smiled her big, beautiful smile. And she said,
"You must be Peter Pringle."
that's how we met. Yeah. And I heard her story and I was horrified and deeply upset and emotional when I heard what had happened to her. I knew I needed to talk with her, but she told me that she hasn't even an hour. That they were going down. She was with the general secretary of Amnesty Ireland was driving her around, and the AGM of Amnesty was the following evening down in Cork, and Sonny was to be the guest speaker. So I undertook to bring her there, and that's what we did. And I drove her down to Cork, and I heard her share again. And the Amnesty got us 2 rooms in a hotel. And when we went over to the hotel, we went into one room, my room, and there were 2 beds in the room. And we each sat on separate beds. And for 3.5 hours, we discussed forgiveness. Because forgiveness was the most important subject for us at that time, and still is a very important subject. And so that's what we did. And then eventually, the following morning, I headed back up to Galway, and Sonny went back to America, but we kept in contact. And we had a sort of long distance relationship for a couple of years until eventually, after 9/11, and when 9/11 happened, that's the Twin Towers bombings happened. Sonny was actually teaching yoga in a prison in Ireland. And when that broke, there was no flights back to America, so we didn't know what to do. We decided that we would attempt to live together, and that we would be better on the west coast of Ireland than on the west coast of America. And so that's what we did. And Sonny came to Ireland with 2 big bags packed. She reversed what her ancestors had done, and came back east to Ireland, and we've been living together happily ever since. And we got married, and we set up the Sonny Centre Foundation, which we use to help other people who've been wrongly convicted. Whether they've been sentenced to death or not really doesn't matter to us. What matters is if they've been wrongly convicted. And so we give them any help we can give them, and we try to show them how to live a good life again, as we do. And in that way, we're giving back for the benefits that we've had. And in my opinion, I feel that I'm truly blessed because I have this wonderful woman in my life, and because I've got my freedom, and because I have the ability to help other people. So that's basically what we do.
and it's born a new love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, you wait, despite all your life, all the things success in your life, you don't have a grudge, no, with no one.
Right.
No. The thing is, sometimes people was well would say to me, and maybe to Sonny too, how come you're so happy?
Mm.
And I say, how could I not be happy? We've come through the worst thing that could happen to us, and we're out through it, and we're free of it, and we're living a good life together. It would be very wrong of me not to be happy. And anyway, we just are. That's just the way we are. We're not victims. You see, we're survivors.
But I must add, to be fair, that a lot of people, when after a wrongful conviction, when they're released, they don't have anyone. They don't have any money. They don't have any way to make a new life. So it's very hard to be happy. I mean, you're very glad that you're free, and at first it's, oh, it's very nice. But then you realize that you're never going to have a career, you're never going to have a family because they're too old now to start a family. You're never going to be able to get back what they took away from you, and you're stuck in this poverty and hopeless life, and that can make a person angry and sad, and hold a grudge, like you say.
But you
But
see,
we try. That's why we do what we do, to try to help those people who don't have anybody, to know that they do have somebody. They have a family. We can be their family, and they can be to us like brother, sister, child, grandchild, depending, because we're older now, and that they never have to be alone. Just like we discovered that we're never alone, and we try to help them to develop their spiritual side, so that they will realize the same as we realized, that you're never alone and life is never hopeless as long as you can still breathe. And then we share with them the tools that helped us to come through these difficult times in our life, which was yoga and meditation and prayer. And then, but the key after that is forgiveness, a willingness to let go of the anger, and so that you can fill yourself up with joy and love again. It's a good trade. It's a good trade.
And in all the life, there are good and bad photos, no, of our life,
Yeah.
but nobody can take off our smile, no.
That's right.
that's
Well,
right.
maybe for a little while I might go, "Mm," but
But
not for too long.
you know, it's important. I should say that
Mhm.
before I met Sonny and before Sonny met me, we each of us had decided that we were not going to live in anger and depression and bitterness over what was done to us. We each of us had decided individually that we were going to live in compassion and in healing and reconciliation. And so when we met and became friends and lovers, it was a natural thing for us. But not everybody uh, goes into the depths of depression. There are some people who do manage to choose a better life, but they're few and far between. And that's why we're able to help a lot of people.
I'll tell you one of the things that helps a lot, um, because in every day in our lives there are things that make us angry, that make us upset. or sad. And these feelings need to be honored. We have to express them, you know. You have to let them out, otherwise they go inside and they become a problem inside. You can be cancer or what do you call
They
um,
fester.
stomach problems or backache or neck ache,
Mm.
so you don't want to push them down. You need to express them. They deserve to be expressed, but not for all day, not for the rest of your life. Give it, 5 minutes. It's worth 5 minutes. I mean, this could be the last day of my life. So, how much time will I give to this? 5 minutes. You made me angry. So, I'm going to give it 5 minutes. You can have 5 minutes of my life right now. And then I be angry and whatever. And then 5 minutes. That's all. Goodbye. Now I'm going to think of something nice. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to eat some chocolate. I'm going to cook some pasta. I'm going to go and feed the dog. I'm going to think of all the good things in my life, and I'm going to say, I don't need to think about you anymore. You know,
Step by
the
step,
rest of my day will be happy.
step by step, all people can do this.
Yes, yes, exactly. So,
You see,
yes,
the thing is that
express yourself and then forget about it. It's like when we were in Italy and people get angry when they're driving the car. Immediately they get out, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and then they go away, goodbye. No, I'm not angry anymore. That's the way to do it.
as Sonny often says, we have choice. We have a choice. We can choose to be angry and bitter if we want to be that way, but we can choose not to be that way too. And it's an interesting thing that within each of us, we hold the elements, the psychological elements of emotions. We hold the positive emotions and the negative emotions. We hold love and compassion and friendship, just as we hold anger and bitterness and greed and the other ones. But the point is that if we nourish the positive ones, there's no room for the negative ones to come up. If we nourish the positive emotions that are within us, then there's no room for the negatives. But if we nourish the negatives, there's no room for the positives. So we have to make this decision.
Every second we choose
That's right.
where we must do right or left,
That's
and
correct.
you choose to be happy or to be sad.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you come to this, what I think of as like a crossroads, and I don't know which way to go. So in that situation, I don't go anywhere. I just stop.
Meditation then.
Stop, breathe,
Mm.
meditate, and ask my spirit to guide me which way to go.
And
That's
I told when I talk to other people, no, I always tell them why you must sad or hungry. If you change and be happy, you must two things. No, you can be quickly happy if you smile,
Mm.
uh, and not if you be sad. No.
Right, right. Look in the mirror, give yourself a smile. That's a good
if
way to
you ever
start.
notice
if you are sad to be happy, you are happy one time only. If you are two time, you make sad happy, two things. You can be happy two times and not sad.
Right. That's right.
when if you notice that if you're walking down the street and somebody's walking towards you and they're smiling, you'll smile too because it's nice to see somebody that looks happy. But if you see somebody that's not smiling, that's angry or bitter, you look at it and you sort of tense up too, because it communicates. So it's much
and
better to be happy.
and the people who smile is not are not foolish people, no?
No, not at all. They're happy people.
And who cares?
And there's nothing foolish about being happy.
But who cares if somebody thinks I'm foolish because I'm smiling? In prison, I must say to you, in prison, there were some of the women who used to say that I was a clown, that I was crazy because I was smiling in prison. And she's crazy. She's a clown. No, it's because why shouldn't I be happy? Sometimes you're not happy, but you can find happiness anywhere because it's come from here. I'm not looking out here for my happiness. I get my happiness from in here. So this gives me a special freedom. You
Yeah.
see, freedom from what everybody else thinks. It's very good. Nice place to be in your life.
And what about your future about this summer?
Well, I already am planting seeds for my garden. I plant seeds for lettuce and cabbage and kale and peas, sweet peas, and soon tomatoes. And this is my future. I'm planting the future right now. You see, this is my
I hope,
future.
and I hope you can go to United States to do the project who told me last time we speak by phone. You
I
remember?
hope so. Oh, and we also since we spoke, we started a little community in
Mm,
Florida in the United States. And we now have 4 people who live there, and we give them a nice home and also, help, like whatever help they need. And we hope we will have more communities like that, you know, as it becomes possible. So,
That's 4 exonerated people,
yeah.
4 former prisoners.
So we're always the future is like dinner right
yeah,
now, you
is
know.
this? And
So
I want to leave you with the. I want to see the same photo I made you in Modena. If it's not if it's not stronger to move some you or Peter. You remember how we say goodbye in Modena? The last the last shoot I make you. You remember?
Yeah.
but what did we say?
I want to show that there is love to people like in Modena. You remember?
Ah,
You remember also in COVID time.
yes, yes, absolutely. And whenever we see you again, we if God will allow us to still be here, we'll show you some more love.
Yeah, and Peter, you understand what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
You can go to Sunny.
Oh, he wants us to
Sure.
come
You want
together
to do
now.
that now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. No problem.
I get it.
and
I'll do it.
we say goodbye with the same kiss. We
Oh, I
this
remember.
this one
Yes. You can leave your phone.
because all the time is good to give kiss to the people that love.
Mm, yeah. I'll take another one.
Bravi. Because
Oh.
love never stop.
That's true.
No, even beyond this world, the love will never stop.
I thank you so much, Sunny and
Thank
Peter.
you.
And thank you, because the more love we can leave with the people, the better.
Okay, we stay in contact.
Okay. Yes, we, of course, absolutely. Grazie.
Grazie a voi.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. And
Ciao, Maria.
when you want to come in Italy, and we go in Sicily.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now, you must count on that.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All the best.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.